So you want to paint some rockets, do you? Well, got these nifty, handy, super technologically advanced pieces of equipment here. Just got to fill them up with something, make them a little heavier. Probably find something in the old yard. Got the holes made, put the dowel rods through. You'll see what I'm doing here in a second. Ingenious, absolutely ingenious. Okay, so now we got our super duper highly technological paint setup. I'm gonna get this nose cone for the old Hi-Flier primed. And get a coat on there and hit it with some 320 grit. And then we're gonna do another coat, hit it with 400 grit. And we'll do one last coat, hit it with 600 grit. Probably letting it dry about 20 minutes in between each coat, maybe 30 minutes. So the cool thing is I can rotate it. It's actually not too unstable. Should work. Since we're painting the shoulder, yeah, I got that shoved up in there, and we probably won't paint that little tip part right there, but that'll be alright. I can always hit one more coat. Give it one more wipe with the tack cloth, and then we're painting. Priming. We're priming. Got the old Rustoleum. Give that a shot on there. See if I can do this one-handed. I think we're all right. Here we go. Since it's just a primer coat, it ain't gonna matter how nice we got it on there anyways. Give it a turn. Come back on this side a little bit. Alright, so after about 30 minutes letting it dry, I hit it with some 320. See how gummed up it got. I will say this, after about 30 minutes, and it's not the super hottest, best day, it's windy, it's kind of got some clouds in the sky, it really doesn't seem to want to cooperate the best. It was getting all gummy, so maybe it wasn't completely dry even after about 30 minutes. But I did hit it with the tack cloth, and I got it cleaned up. I hit the shoulder a little bit. If you notice, it seems like some of it came off of the shoulder, like right here. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to matter too much for the shoulder. I just do want to make it black. It doesn't have to be the prettiest part. The prettiest part has to be out here, what you see most of the time. So we're going to go ahead and hit it with the second coat. Okay, it's been a while. Got the next coat on there all dried up. The second coat, going to hit this with some 400 grit. Remember the last one was 320. It's looking pretty. See, that's that spot that came off right there. But this is just the shoulder. It's whatever. This is what matters. Alright, so I got the last coat on there, but I haven't sanded it yet. Only thing that's not looking super great is the tip. But we still got to paint it with a couple coats, so that might smooth out. And the shoulder doesn't really matter. That's just filling up space. But other than that, the main part's actually looking really smooth. 2 coats, sanded once with 320 and then 400. Boom diggy boom. Alright, we're out here with the Hi-Flier XL. And we're going to start getting the primer coat on. Got it on my rotisserie. I'll go ahead and dust it off a little bit. I already tack clothed it a while back. Oh, actually that works. Look at there. Right, come on. Oh yeah. Auto spin. Look at there. Barely any wind right now. Decent temperature. It's not super hot. Going with the old Rustoleum, whether you love it or hate it. Here we go. Alright, so we're going to give it a nice little... It's kind of coming back at me. We don't want that. Alright, here we go. I don't really care about this table. It's going to get replaced soon, so... Just masked off the aft end can get sprayed, it don't matter. Try not to get it into the launch lugs too much, but it should be fine. Constantly shaking. Been shaking it for a minute before I started recording. Upside down. Good this way. All right. Give it a spin on the old rotisserie. Another shake. Actually getting kind of low on the old primer. Might just have enough to do one coat. Some went thicker, some went thinner. But we're gonna put a couple coats on. We'll get all that right. I'm just curious to see what's gonna show up and what's not. So we got some fuzzies right there. I might have sanded a little too much. And the fillets are showing, but I didn't fill them or anything. But we still got quite a few layers to go. We'll see. Alright, so just a couple minutes later, I want to point something out. Seems like, because the can's out, it's done. I gotta get a new one. But I pretty much, whether I put on too much or not enough, I just finished the can on this coat. Still the first coat, but it's kind of thick. But looks like it, when I was shaking it, it was getting drips everywhere. I was shaking it all over everything. And you see where the drips went. Some of it got on me. But it's kind of starting to dry up a little bit. I don't know if you can see that. But there's some fuzzies. And you can still see some of the spirals that we didn't fill in. But I'm going to sand this. And I'm going to coat it pretty much until I'm satisfied. Sand and coat until I'm satisfied. And then I'm going to start working the paint. Some people, they say to wet sand or dry sand, 1,000 grit, 1,500 grit, 2,000 grit. Well, at this point, I'm ready to fly this thing. So, I'm still going to try. And yeah, now I can see what's going to show up and what's not. But we still got a couple more coats to put on here, and then we'll go from there. And let this dry maybe for a day. And it has been a couple days since I've done the nose cone. So still got to sand the tip of that because it was caking up. I wasn't letting it dry long enough. And these temperatures and the time of day that I'm doing it, definitely got to let it dry. Maybe for a day. It says up to 4 hours sometimes. So we'll get back to it here in a little while. Alright, so it's been literally a week since we've done the nose cone for the Hi-Flier. Really this entire thing's smooth. Except for the tip that got a little bit of like caking up from the primer that wasn't quite dry yet. And the last step that I was going to do is just go over it one last time with some 600 grit. Just see if I can kind of smooth that out. I'm going to do the whole thing, but I definitely want to pay attention to this part here. Could wet sand it, but eh. Just want to flatten that out a little bit. Yeah, it's sanding way better now. Okay. Let's see where we're at. It's just some dry toilet paper. Feeling really, really smooth actually. Some might have knocked that down a little bit. There's a slight bump. Making one more paint stroke ruins the painting right, so we're not going to do it too much. I am going to go over the whole thing just one last time, real lightly. 600 grit. I'm really not putting on any pressure. And then the next step, I'm thinking we're just going to go ahead and start putting on the black. Yeah, this is how it's supposed to sand right here. Definitely still kind of tacky wet when I did the other layers. Learn from that, for sure. I'm not going to worry about the shoulder too much, because the way it's fitting in the body tube right now is actually all right. So this should be fine. I want it to kind of be a little more snug than it is. It's still kind of loose. So actually, that's why I kind of prefer when it comes out of the package, brand new, that it is a little loose, because I could feel it. Guys, look at that. I think we've done it. All right. I don't know if I got you a good shot. Let's see. Nope, I want to do that. There we go. That's about as smooth as I'm going to be able to get it, I think. I'm not worried about it too much else. This is going to be good for me. Alright, so we got the Hi-Flier's nose cone outside now after I sanded it with the 600. Just kind of see it in the sunlight a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and say that that's ready. I'm going to put 3 coats of the old Rustoleum 2X gloss on there. 3 light coats. I'm going to hit it light, then I'm going to wait a couple minutes, probably about 15 minutes, hit it with another light coat, and probably wait another 15 minutes and hit it with another light coat. And then I'm probably going to wait at least 48 hours, so it's looking like probably sometime in the middle of next week or next weekend, I'm going to hit it again to do the second main coat. And I may or may not sand in between each. So 3 light coats within an hour, wait a couple days, sand, hit it again, all that. So go ahead and just dust it off real quick, just to make sure there's nothing on there. Turn it. I already cleaned it, but I think it's fine. Just want to make sure. Alright, I think we're ready to paint. Alright, hitting it with the black gloss. Nice and easy. That's not as light as I wanted it to be honest. But okay, we are dealing with some wind. Oof. Please don't run. I'm blowing with the wind, so it's literally pushing it right into the nose cone. Alright, I'm gonna say that's pretty darn light. Definitely not as light as I was thinking, but I'm gonna tell you, that actually went on so dang good. I ain't gonna lie, that looks so great right now in the sun. I'm actually impressed. Maybe it's just because I don't know. I don't know why it did that. That looks great. And y'all saw it live. Heck, I might be able to just do it today and be done with it. Alright, I'm going to wait 15 minutes. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes later. Yeah, it's a little light right there. But it adhered so good. I mean, I might just be able to finish this today. I might not worry about it. This is good for me. And I did kind of miss the tip a little bit. But I'll hit that on the next coat first thing. And yeah, we're not going to get anywhere the stick's sticking in. But that's the shoulder. I just want it black, but it doesn't have to be as nice as what's going to be seen all the time, which is this part. So I'm going to hit it with another coat and see what we get. Hopefully no drips. Alright, so here we go. Just going to kind of come at that tip. There we go. Nice and light. It's sticking to it so good, it's just kind of absorbing it. That's how it's supposed to go. That's how it's supposed to do. Old Rustoleum actually working for me. It's amazing. Just remember to try to keep shaking it. I wasn't really shaking it last time. I might be getting better at this. If I can do this and get these kind of results, pretty sure anybody can. Remember, this is the second coat. I'm going to wait another 10-15 minutes. Just want to note that I have been shaking it more than I would have ever thought to have shook it. I've also left it out here in the sun. It's probably, I don't know, 78 degrees out here right now, with probably up to about 10-mile-an-hour winds on and off. So if leaving this out here to kind of stay warm has anything to do with it, and this staying warm, this is coming out great. So this is the one last round. I also wiped my nozzle just before this and did a test down here. Can't really tell, but it is spraying. So I'm gonna hit this kind of from this angle. Boom. Okay. Then turn it. Oh my, we're getting runs. I overdid it. I thought I kept going too much. That's okay. That's all right. Keep it just like that. Now you can only expect so much. So here is a day later on the first coat on the airframe of the Hi-Flier. See, I got fuzzies. You can still see those spirals pretty bad. So I'm gonna give this a sand, starting with 320, work my way to 400, and then 600 when I do the final coat. You see if maybe those will fill in a little bit more. Probably not. If it's already shown, it's probably not going to fill in. But this is where you can kind of barely see it. But you put so many coats of primer and paint on here, those ain't going to show. And of course, I didn't even think about it, but I never did the spirals on the launch lugs. And you know, the launch lugs are a little chewed up from cutting them. But I can probably sand that real quick and see what happens. You can see fuzzies on the fins too. I'm gonna take some 320 and go to town. All right, try and get you some good angles here. Start about, well, I could probably start it literally at the edge. I think my next coat I'm going to do white, and that way when I sand it, I'll see the gray and I know that I'm going too far. This is sanding really, really good because since I waited a day, it's coming right off. It's not caking up at all. It's powdering right up. That's what I want. Nice. I'm just going to do that till it gets kind of that lighter shade. Let's see if I can knock these fuzzies off right here. I'm trying to get you some good shots here, but the way the lighting is out here right now, since it's later in the afternoon, is kind of not working with me too good. So let's see if these fuzzies come off. It's knocking quite a bit off. I'm not showing white yet, but this is how it's supposed to sand. So when I did the nose cone, I didn't wait long enough when it was cool out that day. I could have probably waited a couple hours or even an hour or so, and it might have been all right. Just smoothing it up pretty good though. Right, so let's see about getting in here. Kind of curl that up and just go back and forth a couple times. Maybe do this side from here. So it might cake up, it's not really that effective. Next one, and try and get a piece that isn't so clogged, a part of it at least, I mean. Alright, so you can kind of see what I've done, what I haven't. Right, continue in the sand. Still the same sheet. Probably work the way down to the lower body tube here. I'm really not pressing very hard at all. Just kind of trying to knock off the high spots, flatten it out a little bit. And yeah, of course, letting the sandpaper do the work for me. Probably say that a lot. Until it gets that nice kind of lighter gray color. Man, that's coming off real good. Get this. I bet you I can hold it like this and it'll make it easier. Thin. Oh, went kind of deep there, but that might not have been as much primer there. Let's see what I'm going to try and just do 3 coats. 1 dark, 1 light, 1 dark. Get the edge. That's what the bottom looks like right now. See, I don't really want to get anything here. Okay, this fin, I kind of lost my spot where I was. Hit both of those, hit one of those, hit that one. It is making a lot of dust, that's why I am doing this outside. I definitely want to breathe this dust in. It's all good practice. Better to do this on a $15 rocket than a $1,500 rocket. You know, practicing painting because I'm not the painting master. But I am trying to get better. And you should be too. I've always wanted nice looking rockets. Something to be proud of on the old launch pad and take it to the club or at the park. Yep, I think that's going to be a good idea. Light, coat next, send it till I see this dark gray. I think I read that in an Apogee article, and I think I'm sold, because it is kind of hard to tell what you're doing just using all the same color. Gotta finish hitting that. Yeah, so I got all this, so all on the same paper. I could probably switch if I wanted to, but I'm cheap and I don't want to use up too much sandpaper. That's what it's for. Yeah, I know. Let's see what I can get away with. That's me. Masking the fins is going to be the fun part. And that, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not looking forward to, because it kind of scares me, because I don't want any bleed through. Because it seems like it happens every time, but I'm gonna try some decent painting tape, the green kind, not the Tamiya. I do want to get some of that though. I'm gonna tape it, mask it off, mask off the fins. I'm gonna paint this red and paint the fins black, just like I'm painting the nose cone black to match the face card. So. But, of course, you can always paint it whatever you want. Alright, I'm going to get this cleaned off and I'm going to show you what we got. Alright, so we're back inside. I wiped this off with a paper towel. Paper towel, not a paper towel. But this one right here, all I did is literally wet one of my hands and dried my hand off with this. And then I took it, wiped it all over again. It's a little damp. Now you can see how much I took off right there, and you can, once you really get a good look at it, you got it cleaned off, you can really see the spots that you missed or what's going on, places that you need to work on. And you can definitely see a lot of course, imperfection where the fillets are. But I could have put sanding sealer there just like I put on the fins, or even maybe some of the Bondo putty, and smooth those out even more. There is a little bit of wood grain showing, but Since I've got this cleaned off and ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and put on a second coat of primer. And it's going to be the white kind. And you can see how much else I took off just with a slightly damp paper towel. See some of that gray. Alright, so this is what we got going on. I'm going to go ahead and paint this shade of white before it gets dark. I'm going to let it dry overnight. I'm going to sand it again tomorrow, if I got time, if it's in the schedule. I'm going to sand it white with this type right here. And I don't see why it would be a bad issue. And at almost $13 a can, it better be universally awesome. It's definitely not as, or it is more expensive than the gray primer filler. Of course, been shaking it for a while. Test spray. Looks like we're spraying good. Okay. I'm thinking just gonna hit it just like we've been doing. Now I don't have it on my rotisserie. Besides, my piece of tape came off and I was like taping it back. And if we get it up in there, who cares? I'm gonna sand all this anyways, and just as long as I can get the retainer to stick, that's all that matters. Running a little bit. I never used this kind before. I don't know if I'm feeling this or not. We're getting runs. I wasn't getting runs with the other kind. This might not be its intended use. I'm putting it on too thick. But the gray primer, you don't really have to worry about putting on too thick. The spirals are still showing pretty good. This might be make you or break you right here, man. I don't know about that. It's got a different smell too. I think I'm doing it too close. I really don't know. This might not be as forgiving as the gray. We'll see. I'm not liking that so far. You guys gotta let me know, man, because this might be the first and last time I use this kind. I'm not far away enough. Seems to be drying though. Alright, that's that. Wait for 24 hours.